Coach, obviously you guys have always been big on 50-50 balls. And how do you feel like you guys have been in that area so far in the series?
I thought we did a much better job last game. You're always looking for improvements. I think we've had a nose for the ball, but just coming up with it is something that, you have to complete the possession. And were a few possessions last game where we got on the floor. That was a good sign. So I think just being aware of it is a good sign. We've talked to the guys about it, whether it's, rebounding the ball or getting deflections, or if that thing just starts going, in a 50-50 environment, we want to be, you want to come up with it. But I think we've improved there.
And the thing I had was on Aiden. When you look at, how he gets his points, I know a lot of it, some of it's off pick and roll, but, you said going to the post with him more. How much is it on him just to figure out, hey, and then how much of it is just on the play call and getting shots?
It's probably both, to what percentage, I'm not quite sure, but, I feel like it probably isn't an every game thing, just because we haven't played that way all year, where he's been efficient is in the short roll and playing on second side, that kind of thing, at the rim with lobs. But there are times where we can, not force the issue, but try to, get him the ball where, he can score. It's just one of those things that I don't necessarily want to choreograph, but I think there are times where we can, go to him just to flatten out the defense. And, the thing about DA is he's not a selfish player. Even though we may call his play, he doesn't necessarily think that he has to score. He'll try to make plays for somebody else.
Coach, in terms of closing out possessions like you're talking about, their offensive rebounding numbers are higher than you would have liked, but the second chance points have gone down.
Yeah.
Is there anything you've noticed with the defense in terms of, okay, they are getting offensive rebounds, but we're still able to keep them?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a remorse every time we give up one, and guys just, they dig in a little bit more. And there are times where the offensive rebounding number goes up just off of tips. And that's something that, I never even thought about as a player. When I got into coaching, you realize, man, there's a lot of rebounds just off of tipping. But I just think it has to be a focus for us to try to get stops and complete it. It's not a stop until we complete it with a rebound. That just has to be our mindset. And then try not to use up, that kind of energy playing twice or three times on one possession on the defensive end when you don't have to. If we can force a stop, like, we got to come up with the ball.
Just a general question, but as a coach, like, how do you weigh kind of what you've done all season and your preparation game by game into a playoff game versus, having to adjust on the fly and different things outside of the
How do I do it? Oh, gosh. I mean, I think you look at the film, you listen to the coaches. Hopefully the next morning I have a clearer mind about what we need to do better, as opposed to trying to change everything all the time. I think most coaches, if they were honest, we make adjustments all game. That's just the way it is. Foundationally, you may not make big time adjustments, but at least for me, we're always tweaking something. It may be small in the big scheme of things, but I'm hopeful that, listening to the coaches and players and then, weighing that against our system, and is it the right thing to do? Sometimes you can be forced to make an adjustment just for adjustment's sake, and it may not be the right thing to do. So there's a lot of things I weigh anyway. For me, it's like, have we tried to do what we're supposed to do well first, and then you kind of go from there.
Hey, Monty, we're past that point now where both teams kind of know what each other runs. And I was just curious, especially with how similar stuff is on both sides, how you felt like the team has sort of adapted to the game within the game that happens in these kinds of series?
Well, I mean, I think the experience we had last year and even playing without guys has helped us focus on not so much plays, but concepts, environments, that kind of thing, as opposed to a play. The game is so physical. It's really hard to, run plays all the time. And so I think our guys have, over the course of the series, have adapted to, things that we talk about all the time: contest without fouling, contest and stay to get the rebound. Those things are really important. One thing we have to do better is not foul. We're playing really hard. Now we got to have bonus awareness. That's something that's really important in the playoffs. And I think it's something that, is at the top of the players list, especially after the film we had yesterday and this morning.
With those types of adjustments and the experience last year you talked about, do you feel like your relationship with Chris has gotten even stronger when it comes to those moments you would tell us about, like when you FaceTime him into a coach's meeting and you see a tweak, just those little moments you guys have when you click on something?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm probably, as I've said before, more apt to listen to all of the players, but especially Chris, when he calls me about something or we're sitting on the bus talking about whatever it is. A lot of the time, Chris is trying to do stuff to help his teammates and they don't even know. He's like, hey, coach, we could get this for X or Y. And as I've said before, his greatest skill is he cares about people. And I think that's what allows him to be a really good basketball player.
Monty, when you look at the three-point shooting that they have had, where are the areas in terms of where they're getting it and how they're knocking those shots down? Do you see the opportunity to tighten and clean things up?
Well, the last game they had like 2 or 3 at the end of the game off the dribble. I mean, if you cancel those out, it wouldn't have been. They had the one game where they got hot, and then we just made a number of mistakes in reading the play. We weren't as physical. We were jumping screens and allowing a slip to the basket, then we'd have to help and we give up a corner 3. But for the most part, just respecting the guys that can shoot. I mean, that's probably number one. I mean, they have a number of guys that can knock down a shot. They may not do it every single night from a volume standpoint, but they can shoot the ball. If they have an NBA jersey on, you have to respect them. And I think just KYP, knowing your personnel helps with that.
In terms of DA, it seems pretty clear that they're intent on trying to get Valanciunas rolling early tonight. Do you think he's gotten a better sense of just the leverage and angles that he can try to use to try to fight that beast off a little bit?
I mean, he's a really good player. I mean, he was good in Toronto. He's good in Memphis. He's had games this year where he's carried them. So as we've said all series, one guy is not going to stop, a volume score. Our team defense has to be at a high level, but I mean, you can, nullify some of it with just being in the right spot first. And pretty much everybody knows moves and things of that nature. Just being solid and forcing a tough shot is the key for us. I'm glad you said that. I didn't know they were making that a point to throw him the ball tonight. So we just have to be really good in our team defense.
Mike, how comfortable are you when you have to match down? I know you did it a little bit when Aiden was out earlier.
What do you mean match
When
down?
another team goes small,
Yeah.
what's your comfort level?
I'm okay with it because we've done it this year. I had a conversation with JaVale before he came and told him that we may have to do some of that at times, and we have this year. We've been able to put Jay at the 5 at times. Torrey's done it a little bit. It's not something I'm opposed to doing. But when you're smaller like us, the rebounding component comes into play. And then when teams go small, I'm not as apt to do it as quick as everyone else because I feel like if you're going to go small, we have bigs that can punish you for going small. So, you know, we, as I've said, we try to do what we do first before I start making a lot of adjustments that can throw you off rhythm at times, but I'm not afraid of it. Thank you. Yep.